Hello and welcome back. Before I begin, I'd like to welcome my newest subscriber. I'm so sorry, I don't know whether you pronounce your username StratChic or StratChick, but either way, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate you taking the time. And now, on with the haul. First, from University of Baltimore, I got Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. You may remember a couple of weeks ago, I checked out a film called Thirst by Chan-wook Park, and I mentioned that he had directed this film as well as Old Boy and Lady Vengeance, which are known as I keep forgetting if it's the Revenge Trilogy or the Vengeance Trilogy, but it's one of those. And I mentioned that week that I had tried to watch Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, but really hadn't gotten into it. So I loved Thirst so much that I decided to give Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance one more try. And this time I did watch it all the way through, but I still have to say I just was not crazy about it. It's, it's visually stunning, etc., which is what everybody says about all these films, that the colors are pretty but they don't really make sense. I found myself sort of confused as to what's going on, and that's not necessarily a deal breaker. If the film itself is compelling enough, sometimes it just sweeps you along. But this just, I don't know, it didn't do it for me. I'm almost tempted to give Old Boy a try because that one is really acclaimed and Thirst was just so good. But this one, I don't know, if your tastes are like mine, I would recommend you pass. But do check out Thirst. Next, from Stevenson University Library, I got The Lodger, A Story of the London Fog. This is a very early Alfred Hitchcock film. It's a silent, and it's about Jack the Ripper. I've watched maybe 15 minutes of it so far, and really all I know about it is that it's about Jack the Ripper, so I can't really give you that much of an idea of it. It's pretty good. One of the things I'm noticing is that the intertitles are a lot more interesting than intertitles in silent movies usually are. There's a lot of color and different shapes and all kinds of things. And now on to my borrowings from the Sights and Sounds department of the Enoch Pratt Free Library. First I got The Realm of Fortune, and I got a chance to watch this yesterday. This was kind of a serendipitous find. I somehow missed it when I was going through the catalog for the library, but I was just browsing the foreign film shelves and the title caught my eye, and I pulled it out and I saw it was directed by Arturo Ripstein, who directed a couple of films I really liked, Foxtrot and Deep Crimson. And in case you're curious, Deep Crimson is based on the same true story that Leonard Castle's film The Honeymoon Killers was based on, and The Honeymoon Killers is one of my favorite films, so I checked out Deep Crimson, really liked that too. And I also, as I said, liked Foxtrot. This one I enjoyed. I didn't like it quite as much as the other two films of his that I've seen, but I would still recommend it. It's about a Mexican peasant who decides to make his fortune through cockfighting after he rescues an abandoned gamecock. And I know cockfighting is not the most savory subject in the world, but the fighting scenes are not graphic. There isn't a whole lot of blood or anything, so if you're squeamish about that, it's you probably won't come away too traumatized. And supposedly it's a tribute to Buñuel's Mexican films. I don't think I've seen that many of his Mexican films, so I can't really comment on that. But I enjoyed this. I would recommend it. Next I got Sunday's Children. This was directed by Daniel Bergman, who is Ingmar Bergman's son, and Ingmar Bergman wrote the screenplay. And as you know, I love Bergman. I'm a Bergman completist, so I decided I had to check this out. And unfortunately, I think this is the last Bergman film I'm going to be checking out from a library. I don't think any of the libraries I frequent have any more films written or directed by him, so this is kind of a sad milestone. This had a couple of things going against it. First, I'm just, with a few notable exceptions, not a huge fan of child's eye view kind of stories. I mean, everybody goes on and on about Truffaut's The 400 Blows, and that left me completely cold, although I really enjoyed the other films he did about the same character that followed. The only two Child's Eye View films I've really liked that I can think of off the top of my head are The Tin Drum and Blame It on Fidel, both of which feature rather unconventional children and arguably rather malevolent little children. So that was strike one against this. Strike two is that this was a continuation of the Bergman scripted autobiographical films, The Best Intentions and Private Confessions. Unfortunately, I have not been able to get hold of Private Confessions yet, which is the second part in the trilogy. But I saw The Best Intentions and really didn't like it. It was, I think, about 3 hours long. I just found it really dull. So, because I love Bergman, I checked this out, but I was not expecting much from it. I was really surprised that I absolutely loved it. Or, okay, maybe loved it is a little strong, but I really liked it. It's just a good film. I don't really have much to say about it, but if you see it on the shelf and you think it's interesting, you should definitely check it out. And I think even if you're not a Bergman fan, you might like this. It's not really that Bergman-esque, perhaps because he didn't direct it. And now these I have not seen yet. I got A Kid for Two Farthings. Unfortunately, it's sort of marred by various library stickers. This was directed by Carol Reed, who did famous films The Third Man and The Fallen Idol. And it's based on a novella by Wolf Mankiewicz, which is also called A Kid for Two Farthings. And I read that a couple months ago and thought it was just a really nice book. Very sweet, but not at all cloying or overly sentimental. I have not seen the film yet, but the book takes place in the Jewish garment district of East London, and it's about this young boy who is living in poverty but dreams of being reunited with his father, who's been sent to Africa. And he finds a kid, a baby goat, that is rather sickly looking, but that his friend convinces him is a unicorn. And so the little boy decides that the unicorn will be able to grant all his wishes, and it's about the adventures that follow. I'm really looking forward to seeing this, especially because Wolf Mankiewicz, who wrote the book, wrote the screenplay as well. And last but not least, I got the Masterpiece Theater adaptation of Rebecca. This is based on the novel by Daphne du Maurier, which is one in a long series of literary reasons why you really should not name your child Rebecca, but that's another story for another time. I read the book several years ago and honestly was not that crazy about it. I didn't actively dislike it, it just didn't really do anything for me. But I really enjoyed the Hitchcock adaptation. And this one stars the great Diana Rigg as well as Charles Dance, so I'm pretty sure to enjoy it. That's all for now. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me for my next video.